Pranam Acharya ji. You said that we should only pick bigger and important battles and ignore the small battles. But I know somebody who is kind of nihilistic and we can say suicidal as well. So he says ki I don't want to pick even the bigger battles because even if I pick bigger battles, I'll have to go through a very difficult path. The path of truth, as we say, it is difficult. And even though I walk on that, there is a still possibility that I might not win. And even if I win, there is a lot of trouble. So why not I just commit a suicide, end my life, because in the end nothing matters. Afterlife, there is no afterlife, there is no concept of pap punya. So why can't I just end my life right now, and why should I choose to walk the path of truth and knowledge?
No, this simply means that one does not know the bigger battle. The bigger battle is either not known, or if it is known, it does not leave you with a choice to not to fight it. If you are not fighting the bigger battle, that does not mean that you understand what the bigger battle is and are yet choosing not to fight it. If you are not fighting the bigger battle, that simply means that you are too obsessed with all the small things in life, so obsessed that the big, the great, the immense has remained unknown to you. And how can you choose to not accept something that is unknown to you? You can accept or reject only the known. The thing, the condition with the big is that once it is known, it overpowers you. And that's called love. So you cannot say, I know the great, and yet I choose not to move towards it, not to be enchanted by it, not to be dedicated to it. That's not possible. If the immense, if greatness do not call you, do not appeal to you, appear disinteresting to you, it simply means you do not know them. Full stop. Full stop. Truth and love go together. To know the truth is to fall hopelessly and irrevocably in love with it. You cannot know the truth and say, oh, I know it, but I reject it. And you will feel a lot of such people. You'll meet a lot of such people. Because it pleases the ego to say that I know. And it pleases the ego to say that it has the power to reject even the truth. Both of these things are quite pleasurable. I know the truth, I know the truth. And then I am such an authority that I can even reject the truth. This is the statement of ego deeply steeped in ignorance. Neither do you know the truth, nor can you ever reject the truth. Rejection of truth is simply an ignorance towards the truth. Truth leaves you choiceless. Truth leaves you choiceless. And that's the reason the ego is so afraid of the truth. It knows that once it is seen, it cannot be unseen. So let me choose never to see it at all. Now that's something the ego can possibly do. Wear blinders. Wear blinders so that you never see the truth. The truth is immense. It cannot be avoided. But to the ego, the avoidance is possible. How? Wear blinders. All right. Even the thought of suicide, if you will see, with great sympathy and compassion towards those who are in that kind of misery. I'm saying even the thought of suicide is something of the ego. The ego says, I am prepared to let the body die, then be disidentified with the body. Even that is a kind of stubbornness. A greater death is when you let the body be and attain your own true self. Let the body be for what it is. The body has its own mechanisms, its own dynamic nature, works in a certain way, came about and will fall. I'll do my own thing. I cannot stop the body, and the body cannot stop me. I cannot stop the body, can I? I can't. But I find that the body is stopping me. So what do? I say, oh, if I can't stop you, I'll kill you. That's not the way to stop interference. That's interference doubled, redoubled. No? Instead of saying, I'll stop the tendency of the ego to be identified with the body, I say, oh, I'll stop the body itself. Why stop the body? That's why the knowers have repeatedly talked of dying before death. They call it the great death. They say the death of the body is a very small thing. Happens to everybody, to all insects. There is no being here that does not die. So death is such an ordinary and a very common thing. What is the great thing about dying today? You will anyway die tomorrow. You will anyway die tomorrow. So what's the great thing about preponing your death? In the way of suicide, let's say. The great thing is about dying before death. The great death. And if you go into philosophy, yes, over the last century that's been one of the more important questions. Why to live at all? Why not commit suicide? They don't like when we use the word commit anymore. So they say, why not die by suicide? So why not die by suicide? And wisdom has the answer. Because if you choose suicide, you are giving up on something much higher. You are closing the possibility. What is the possibility of living as a Jivan Mukt? Of living joyfully as the dead one. Who is the Jivan Mukt? Who is the dead one. And in that death there is great joy. So when you choose suicide, you are closing on yourself the tremendous possibility of that joy. Jivan Mukti implies you are still alive and blissful. Alive and blissful. And if you are no more alive, where is the bliss? Where is the bliss? So that potentiality has been forsaken. See, if you die, you probably can claim that you have avoided the misery now. But now you have also closed the possibility of joy. What joy is there after death? And those who have known have said that it's It's not a bad deal if you choose the torment of life for the sake of that joy. That joy is so immense because it comes from the immense. No? It comes from that greatness. That joy is so immense that it makes all the torment worth it. Know that your problem is not life. Had your problem been life, suicide might have been helpful. Your problem is your notions about life. Don't drop life, drop the notions. Don't drop. Animals typically don't choose suicide. There might have been one odd case, and when those cases are there, then they make headlines precisely because they are rare, exceptional. So the general rule is that animals do not take that option. Why don't they? Because they don't have notions. They are creatures of Prakriti. They don't have a future, they don't have expectations. They don't say, my life should be my way. To them, life is as it comes to them. Life is as it comes to them. Man lives in his notions and expectations. And then a great betrayal is experienced. You feel you have been let down by life. You wanted something and life has not been up to that. The problem is that which you want is not so big that it will enable you to bear all the pain that is caused in the process of attaining it. This is that which we usually all of us want. What is it? Name it.
Liberation.
Who wants liberation? Come on. What is it? This is your next black shirt. No, this is your next car, next girlfriend, next raise. What else? Whatever. Promotion, like foreign visit, whatever you want. Yes? Desires, right. So all the desires that way. This is that. The thing with the world is, nothing is served to you on a platter, nothing comes for free. So if you want to have it, what do you need to put in? Effort. If you want pleasure, you will have to go through pain. So there is pain involved in coming to this. I am here. There is pain involved in coming to this. So I come to this bearing a lot of pain. That pain is on the debit side in my ledger. Correct? Debit. Nuksan. This is the cost that I have incurred in trying to come to this. And now I come to this. And having come to this, what do I discover? This appeared quite lucrative. What do I discover?
The next one.
Yeah, but what's the nature of this one? It didn't deliver what it promised. So let's say the cost that I incurred in coming up to this is 100 units. 100 units. And what do I get from this? Let's say only 10, 20, 50 units, whatever. Whereas it had promised 500 units. Now the promise of 500 made me spend the 100. But I come to this and how much do I find? The worth is just 20 units. So I have lost out on something, right? But having come here, something else appears here. And this one says 1000. So you will recoup all your losses. Now I am already in debt. My debit side is already high. And it's saying, come to me, plus 1000. So I expend another 200 in going to this. And how much I find on reaching here? Let's say 50 or 80. So my losses accumulate. And a point comes when it becomes clear that if I pursue the next desire, I'll only gather more pain. Also, I do not see any option except pursuing my desires. So what do I say? I'm giving up. I'm giving up. That's like declaring bankruptcy. Now, if you declare bankruptcy, obviously all your accumulated losses are offset. Right? Nobody is now going to come to you to collect his dues. Equally, having declared bankruptcy, where is the possibility of any future profits? If you have declared bankruptcy, where is the possibility of future profits? Please tell me. No possibility. Right? Because the concern itself is now gone. Just as in suicide, the body is gone. So this is the corporate body. Declared bankrupt, it's gone. So fine. One great thing about this is that now you don't have to pay those you owed some money. But also, the great potential of profits is now gone. On the other hand, there is this. This is that which we are actually meant to pursue. The immense that we are talking of. The immense that we are talking of. The wonderful thing with this is that it delivers many times more than what it promises. Many, many times more. Equally, the cost it extracts is also many times more. So you remember in going to this, it promised 100. It promised 500. And the cost you incurred was 100. And it turned out to be 20. That was the equation. Here, this will promise, let's say, there is another goal. It promises, let's say, as much as this one, or a little more. It promises 1000. It promises 1000. You want to go to this. The cost that you took here was 100. The cost that you bear here is 500. 500. Therefore, people will not take this path. Because the cost is much higher here. But then if it had promised 1000 or it had remained ambiguous, just silent about what it will give you, once you reach here, you find this delivers you 10,000. Just that reaching here is difficult. The cost that it asks for is higher. But then what it gives you is many times more than what you can expect. I get it. So, this is what makes the cost bearable. That cost is the daily process of life. All the trials and tribulations in our daily living. Unless you are pursuing this, the costs will build up to such an extent that you will have no option but to declare bankruptcy. Or to keep piling up the costs by going after hopping from one target to the other. This is where the real deal is. But also this is where the real costs are. Now there is this one in Hindi. Sasta roe, bar bar. Mehenga roe. ये महंगा सौदा है. But here what you get is assured. It's just that you're needed to surrender everything that you have. The investment is yourself. Invest it. It requires a heart. You do not build a company to declare bankruptcy, do you? Somebody is starting up, you go to them and ask them, why are you starting up? And they say, to get bankrupt. How does that sound? Similarly, you do not live to die by suicide. It's as absurd as that.